Hiya, I hope you're keeping well. Today's video is going to be about preventing makeup from settling into any fine lines. Now, Julie, you'd asked me this week for, it was for something, will it sit well with mature skin? And I've mentioned on here before, I never usually do videos that are kind of targeting mature skin or things like that, because I just think that over the years, we've been told all of these things, that you should do this or you shouldn't do that if you're a certain age or if you have certain skin concerns. And I just don't believe in any of that. And that's why I never kind of, dedicate a video to particular age brackets or, stuff like that. I just want to keep it so that you can enjoy any technique that you see on this page. However, that said, I know that there are certain tips that you might want to use with whatever you've already got in your makeup bag, little techniques that you can tweak that mean that you aren't going to have your makeup gathering in those places. So even, I feel like that's something that affects people of all ages. And there are a few different things that you can do to really tweak that. So I'm breaking my own rule and I'm making this video. I really hope you enjoy. As always, everything I've used is listed in the description of the video, so if you click to make it full screen, the title will come up along the top, click the arrow next to it and a full list of everything will drop down. But that said, I really want you to just think of the tips in this video and apply them to whatever you've already got at home. Okay, to start off, I've got no makeup on my skin yet, but I do have moisturiser on. And the first thing I would say is that moisturiser or some kind of hydrating serum, whatever it is that you like to use, makes such a difference, not only to your skin, but to how your makeup sits. If your skin is hydrated, it will mean that everything looks, more radiant, a bit more fresh, and also nothing's going to cling to any dry areas or accentuate them. It also means that your makeup will last a bit longer, because I always think if your skin feels dry, your skin ends up kind of drinking the moisture from your makeup. So prep with something hydrating. And then the next thing I would say, it sounds so simple, but if you can use as little product as you can, the less product you have on your skin, the less likely it is to gather in any fine lines. So what's always good to think of when you're working with lines, wrinkles, maybe texture, is to find something that's really densely pigmented and use a tiny little bit of it. Now, this morning I had some QVC shows with IT Cosmetics. We have the Bye Bye Under Eye Concealer with them at the moment. This is the perfect example of something that I would recommend. Whatever brand you like, whatever kind of consistency you like, the theory will still apply, just something nice and pigmented in small doses. So I'm going to start with this much. This is a particularly pigmented concealer. But as you can see, I've got redness kind of local to my cheeks, and I'm going to really gently buff this on with, this is one of the Peaches brushes. I'll have a look in a second at which one it is, the PCO2. Now, rather than automatically taking this everywhere, I'm just going to put it where I need it. And a really soft little layer. And you see, the thing is, because it's so pigmented, a tiny little bit might actually make the difference. And then you're not left with loads of product gathering all over your skin. Like, say for me, I've got a face, I make loads of expressions with my face. I don't know how to say that in a sentence that makes sense. But my face moves around all day, so things are going to fall into those lines. And if I've hardly got anything on, it's not going to be heavy. Okay, again, I've really gently buffed this in. The door actually went when I was in the middle of doing that, so I've cut the clip out. But I'm just going to show you as well. I'm going to take the excess from this brush over the eyes. Things like this as well. I think with any kind of makeup, it is so much easier to build coverage than to try and take it down if you've put too much on. And actually, just having the tail end of that product on this brush has been more than enough to give quite a bright finish. Now, I feel like the whole idea was to not actually use it all over my face, but I have done. But as you can see, a tiny little dot of that has really, really melted down. barely used anything, so we're in good stead. Okay, now I've got that fresh all over. The first thing I'm going to do before anyone has a chance to run around or move anywhere is I'm going to use a small eyeshadow brush, and I'm going to set the eyes with some translucent powder. What I would recommend, I'm not using very much of this, a really soft touch. Anywhere that is particularly, has some fine lines and wrinkles, I would set that as soon as you can. And the reason is, we want this product to stay where it is now and not to run around anywhere else. So I'm going to really gently set the areas that are prone to running around, but then I'm going to leave everywhere else kind of fresh. Now, this powder is called the Bye Bye Pores powder from IT Cosmetics. So I have done quite a big strip on either side there because it helps to blur over those pores. But I'm going to leave things like the cheeks and the outer face really, really fresh. And then the next thing I'm going to do that I always think is really lovely on any kind of textured skin, or when you want to add like lift and radiance, is go in with a cream bronzer. Now, creams in particular, I put a little brush out somewhere for this. Oh, here we go. Creams in particular are so fresh and natural. I think that they really can add a lot of luminosity, and also they wear quite well. As the day goes on, any kind of makeup you wear is going to look a bit more luminous. You know, it might need a little touch up of powder. But the nice thing with creams is that as they wear through the day, that kind of softening and dewiness is just similar to what your skin would be doing anyway. So it looks quite natural. Now, I'm going to start by tickling this in the outer hairline. And hopefully you can see here, I am using the softest touch with this. This is the Danessa Myricks Light 2 Cream Bronzer. If you have a look at her page, she's got a beautiful makeup page actually. She loves a lot of kind of radiant, dewy, glossy skin finishes. But some of her products are just great for looking like healthy, radiant skin. And I'm really gently pressing this. I'm not rubbing too harshly. This brush is barely touching my skin, and I know that is such a boring tip, but I have to say that tip about pressing really gently is one of the most kind of fed back tips that I receive feedback about, that it's made a difference. I had a lovely message from someone not long ago, and she basically said, to be honest, you were always harping on about that. I really didn't pay any attention, and I've just done it and it's made a big difference. Like, we were just having a laugh about it. But it's so true. Like, if you absorb anything from me, take this little soft touch tip, because I really think it gives you a fuller coverage. It gives you the results that you want. But also, I feel like it makes your makeup last longer, because if you're just gently kind of sitting it on the skin rather than really working it in, it can make a big difference. But by all means, another thing I meant to say, it's really important to, if you've got a favourite brand that you use for your complexion or anything like that, I'd have a little look on their website about what their philosophies are. So, for example, that Bye Bye Under Eye Concealer that I've used, I personally think that that works really well with a brush, because it's so densely pigmented that if you loosen it up a little bit and then working with it, you get all of the coverage, but it feels nice and soft and comfortable. Whereas the likes of NARS, their philosophy is that everything will work well when you warm it with the fingertips, and so they would be advocates for using your hands. And I think sometimes just knowing those suggested tips can also really help the finish. But anyway, I'm going to move on. This is the Kat Von D Liquid Gel Blush. I only got this last week and I've worn it several days. It's a really lovely colour. Now, what I'm going to show you about this kind of gel blush consistency, this is really lovely if it's more of like a translucent veil and there's no coverage in it. So if you want a really soft, fresh blusher that doesn't look really heavy, you're going to love this. And I'm merging all the words I'm trying to say. Again, the gel consistency is just going to sit really softly and freshly. It's not going to gather. Look how much that's kind of melted down. It's not going to gather in any lines. it will just give you a really, really soft flush. I mean, that looks very soft. I hope that is actually going to build up. I feel like maybe the brush has drank all of that up. No, you can see it, can't you? But that kind of thing, in particular, if you're going for a bit of a lift from your blusher and you want it nice and high up, that can make such a difference to how it wears through the day. I don't want you to look at your makeup, you know, 5 hours after you've left the house and think, oh gosh, that looks heavy, it's sitting in lines. This is the kind of texture that will naturally wear through the day, go with your skin if you're feeling a bit dewy, a bit fresh. It's more of like a flush, isn't it? I'm going to take a little bit down the nose. And now, what we can hopefully see is that the centre of the face is nice and powdered, really gently with the powder, but at the same time, it's things like these folds and around here that when your makeup gathers in them, it can potentially go from looking dewy to looking a bit sweaty. So we've got that little kind of damage control there, but then you've got all of that luminosity everywhere else. Now, one last thing I do want to do, this is the Bobbi Brown Face Highlighter in Pink Glow. This is, I believe, like a new highlighter from them for the summer. This is going to be a nice example, hopefully. Looks quite pearly on my hand there. But when you melt this down, this is also kind of a soft, I feel like that swatch hasn't actually showed it for what it's going to look like on the skin. I'll pat it on now. Again, I'm just using a finger so that this is a really small wash of colour. This just looks like natural luminosity. To be honest, I don't know if it's the lighting in here or what. It's coming up really shiny on the camera. But in real life, it just kind of looks like a bit of healthy radiance. These kinds of highlighters that, again, are more of a gel translucent texture will just make you look like you have a glow rather than looking like you've got glitter on your face or shimmer or something really pearly. I think you can see on the side of my hand, rather than the enormous splodge I've done there, that it's just super soft. And then a few of those little touches, you've got this lovely, all you're really doing is adding radiance rather than adding loads of layers of foundation. Now, I've used those things today. You can use whatever you've already got at home. And another thing in terms of that kind of gel consistency, you know, where has it gone? If you wanted to make your own little blusher like that, you might have a lipstick or a cream blush that you could mix. Where is my, I'm just getting something to clean my hands before I get it all over my top. You could mix a bit of, you know, your hyaluronic acid or your moisturiser in with your favourite products to give them a bit of a softer finish. Okay, and then I'm just going to do a tiny little touch of powder again. It's a really hot day today, so I'm going to keep an eye on that. And I'm not going to do a bold lip. I think I'm just going to leave it nice and fresh. But hopefully, the moral of the story is, as little product as you can, in as light consistencies as you can, will sit really well. You'll still have a really fresh makeup, but you've got less likelihood of anything running into any fine lines. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed. Give those tips a little try. Let me know how you get on. And as always, please feel free to let me know in the comments section if there's anything in particular you want to see in a video. But thank you for watching, and I'll chat to you soon.